Hey, what's up, everyone? I really am beginning to think that prophecy is ramping up. If you look in the news right now, locust crops have destroyed everything. They've destroyed the crops in the worst invasion in Sardinia in over 60 years. And AccuWeather has reported a biblical plague of locusts is swarming over the Italian farmlands. And now they're worried. Could happen in the United States. The Italian island of Sardinia is dealing with the worst swarm of locusts in over 70 years. The insects have destroyed crops, infesting houses, and devastating animal grazing pastures covering 6,200 acres. I have never seen anything like it in my 53 years of life, this person says. They said weather patterns played a role as the droughts of 2017 and 18, and as the climate changes and emerges. There are modern means of controlling it, pesticides and so much technology, but as far as locust swarm in present-day United States, he said this wouldn't happen today in America. It should not happen today in America. In Colorado and Montana, the first day of summer is looking a lot like the middle of winter, as snow has fallen everywhere in Colorado, in several places in Colorado. They said they could end up with as much as 10 inches of snow over the weekend, on the first weekend of summer. Summer 2019, Colorado and Montana getting up to 10 inches of snow. This comes as Saudi Arabia and areas of the Middle East dealing with millions upon millions of locusts. Now, millions of locusts from Iran have now invaded Pakistan in the Middle East. And this biblical plague of locusts has invaded Sardinia, worse in over 60 years. Italians, seen the worst in over 70 years. Worst invasion in 60 years at Sardinia. Okay, the locust swarm, biblical proportions. India and Pakistan officials hold discussion over the locust outbreak. Indian and Pakistan officials are getting together regarding the locust outbreak. New Jersey right now, they said South Jersey residents were used to floods, but not like this. Not like what they're seeing now. They said they've never seen any floods like this in the state of New Jersey. Everything is just, vehicles and everything are underwater. And the Himalayan mountains are melting, causing the flush of corpses on the mountains to rush down in the deadly floods. And these floods, these storms of damaging proportions are expected to move all the way across the south again today through Tennessee, and they're going to go all the way up the East Coast, and the East Coast is going to get it again, and the United States is being slammed with extreme weather. Heavy rain and flooding affecting so many areas. They said the historic floods of 2019 are one of the follies of engineering United States rivers. Still, the rivers are still flooding. And the drought in India that I was telling you about earlier, India has reeled in the worst drought in decades, over 60 years. And the heat has killed dozens. Sadly, right now, there's no water in India. There are scenes from a drought in India. They stated that Indian villages are lying empty right now as the drought has forced thousands of people to flee. And the struggle for water intensifies as taps run dry in India. They literally stated that there's no water in India. Right there it states, there is no water. Why should people stay? You see the image there to the right. There's no water in India. People were arrested in protests and clashes as the India water crisis took place. This is one lucky place that had one water reservoir left, and it's running dry. And that was all that was left. And they said the rest of the places, there's no water left. None. And it has been a long time since I've seen storms like what we experienced this evening. That cloud to ground lightning, it was like anger and wrath of nature, just complete, just extreme weather. Every type of weather event you could think of: straight line winds, hail, tornadoes, heavy downpours of rain, rain wrapped wind. I mean, it was just, it was everything you could imagine. These severe storms are unleashing these high winds, electrical outages, and very large hail expected to continue. They even had 120 mile per hour winds. People were closing the doors. Everything they had set up outside got blown away in Nashville, and they had people were trying to get inside, and they were trying to close the doors and barely could. And the severe weather is going to continue through this weekend. But it's caused widespread damage. Thankfully, we were spared. Thank the Lord. Because I hope we continue to have electricity. Because the real feels are going to be in the triple digits this weekend. Temperatures in the 90s, real feels above 100. With these violent tornadoes and storms, there was a 1,000 mile swath just 2 days ago, prior to these storms, of storms hitting the central United States. 1,000 miles of storms. And Texas, billions of dollars of damage. And even more as that dust storm blew through 2 weeks ago. A big cyclone hit parts of India, but it didn't stop their drought. There are 341 rows of volcanoes erupting right now. This is the list of volcanoes erupting. There are 4 rows here, and there are 341 more rows. And they say there are many more waking up right now as we're experiencing these wars and rumors of wars. And here's some news that just got reported. Well, actually, I just got the news. This dormant Russian volcano may be waking up and could now spark devastating eruptions at any moment. CNN also reported on this. Fox News reported on this. Reuters, The Sun, volcano discovery. The Rayakoki volcano in the Kuril Islands has erupted again for the second time. Major explosive eruptions 8 hours ago. The Kuril Islands in Russia, more major explosive eruptions are taking place in the Russian volcano right now. Russia's volcano, one of Russia's volcanoes, is exploding. And this extinct volcano has woken up and now could erupt at any given moment. Now, scientists are fearing right now that there's been a large earthquake swarm in Yellowstone. As you see right up there, a large earthquake swarm. And it makes the United States Geological Survey worried that there could be, or Service worried that there could be a Yellowstone volcanic eruption. Now, is it imminent? Who knows? But the scary thing is that the earthquakes are ramping up. Well, the alarming thing, and how that all these extinct volcanoes are waking up. And see, Indonesia is warning of further eruptions. Their volcano spewing ash. You already know the Popocatépetl volcano is erupting. It's not looking good. There have been major earthquakes. Here's just a few for the past few days. But France never gets an earthquake. And a 5.1 earthquake has hit France. And there have been 1,000 earthquakes in California, which it has put the United States on alert and has sparked a megaquake fear or panic. If you remember, Japan got major devastation. Japan and China got some devastation from that 6.4 that happened a couple of days ago. So the earthquakes are escalating back up again. They put out a warning that the big one could happen. And those tsunamis, those powerful earthquakes, jolting tsunamis, not tsunamis, but jolting earthquakes. The tsunami warning was thankfully lifted, but that 6.4 that hit Japan and 6.7 caused damage. They're worried about the winds right now, raising the fire danger in California and New Mexico. Let's see, apparently Philadelphia's oil refinery explosion is America's third major dirty fuel facility fire. So apparently a fire at the Philadelphia oil refinery has sparked an explosion that's been felt for miles in Philadelphia. The oil refinery has exploded. And Canada's wildfire season is already off to a ferocious start, as I stated before. 11,000 people have now been forced to evacuate as firefighters are battling those wildfires. The smoke actually spread to the eastern United States. This is an image out of Alberta, Canada, as the wildfires have caused 9,000 more people to evacuate. These are dead bees. 37% of bees have died. This is June snow in Montana. Strange UFOs being reported. Orbs in the sky by the Weather Service, like I reported earlier. Sasquatch in the news. But let's talk about the crisis right now. They're calling this the farming crisis. They've now had to give up on the majority of the corn crops because they won't grow because of the flooding. Now they say they've had to give up on the soybean crops of the United States altogether. And they've had to make a major cut in their crop production. So almost no corn, no soybeans. Another image out of India. This 6.2 earthquake was felt off of Australia's coast. The generals reported about UFOs, so that's not relating to all this, but it's kind of interesting. Australia got a sudden cold snap. That blue represents cold weather. Frost is now being experienced in the majority of majority of Australia right now. Severe frosts. I showed this earlier. Namibia's drought is so bad. The animals are dead. They've had to give all the animals away. Vultures ate on that. And there's nothing growing. These are the scenes out of Sichuan. In China, they were trying to get anyone out of alive that they could. And millions of flies have taken over Russia. They call it a fly apocalypse. Millions of pestilence has taken over Russia. This time in the form of flies. And like I stated earlier, flesh-eating bacteria are back. This is what the bacteria looks like. And that's what it's doing to people. This is what the flesh-eating bacteria is doing to people. It's officially in the beaches. This bacteria right here that eats your skin. Cinnabung volcano, Popocatépetl are erupting still. Like I stated, over 314 pages of results for volcanic eruptions happening right now. 4 volcanoes on each page. You do the math. And I showed this earlier. Blood red sandstorm. Blood red dust storm. Have you ever seen a blood red dust storm before? Pretty incredible. They're finally releasing these giants, the giant redheads. from the 1500s and before. They're finally releasing those skulls. Talk about control. The students at an elite primary school in China, they have to wear brainwave detecting headbands that allow teachers to track concentration levels in real time. Next, electroshock feature to refocus the sleepy children, giving them electric shocks. A freak lightning storm, an extreme lightning storm, killed all of their sheep and all of their cattle. 170 animals dead instantly because of a freak lightning storm that hit a remote part of India. The United States just received the wettest past 12 months on record, and they said it's just getting started. All of these pigs have a disease. They said right now we're experiencing the biggest animal disease outbreak of all time. It's growing out of control right now. This is an image out of one of the unprecedented fires taking place. At least that's what they credited it to. I don't know where, but they say they're taking off exponentially. It might be up in Canada. The crops are destroyed in Italy because of this. The locust swarm. This is crazy. 100 more sheep killed by a freak lightning storm. They said Ohio farmers said forget it. They won't plant crops at all. Period. This year. The first meat-eating plant has been discovered in North America and Canada. It's a meat-eating plant. And in Ohio, suddenly, all the tap water turned purple in an instant, and no one will explain why. All the tap water turned purple in Ohio overnight. I guess I'll end with some good news. The glacier parks are actually growing instead of shrinking. So while the certain parts of the Arctic are growing and other parts are shrinking, Glacier Park is growing, while the Iceland and Greenland ice are actually expanding. Another part of this world's ice is shrinking, such as the Himalayas. So here, there, and yonder craziness. But I just want to show this pretty view before I end the video. It's time to wake up, everyone, but I know you're awake. Just wanted to share this for those that might not be. Peace and much love. Sending love and prayers. If you like my content and if you'd like to show your love and support through a donation, those links are below as well. Also, feel free to subscribe, and you can email me. Peace. Signing out.